Welcome to another episode of the Imagine Exposure Vodcast. Today we have a very, very, very special guest. This guest is a gentleman who I actually went to high school with. He was close to my brother, but just has had a legacy of strong character from days at Arthur High School to days at House of Pizza. But he was doing that work, and then all of a sudden we started to see all these magnificent culinary delights that he has on this timeline, that sort of thing. Doing amazing work as a chef. And one of the reasons I also wanted to make sure we had a chef on, some would argue that when we talk about grace to cultivate, that's even the concept of what work looks like. That God in His grace has given us all these different ingredients, whether it's in the IT world, whether it's in the writing world, whatever it may be, and we cultivate those things to create an incredible meal. And so I just want to, without further ado, introduce you to a chef. His brand is called Sift and Season LLC. I'm introducing you to Corey Glover. How you doing, Corey?
Zach, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure to have you. Our first question out the gate is, who are you and how do you define yourself?
Well, what's up, everybody? My name is Corey Glover, chef and owner of Sift and Season. I'm located here in Lexington, South Carolina. I would describe myself as a very motivated person, creative, especially in my vocation, very strong-headed, but I would say in a humbling way, you know, I'm gifted at what I do. I would say that's about it.
For sure. What would you say is your story as it pertains to work and vocation? A lot of times we feel like we can empower, especially the next generation, to look up to the current generation, what they're doing, just by hearing your story. So what is your story as pertaining to work and vocation?
Actually, I never had a flame for cooking. I never attended any culinary institute. It's just one of those things that as time passed, the passion just ignited, so to speak, I would say. I kind of fell into it just by, you know, you're on social media, people post pictures of their foods. I was doing the same thing. Actually, a coworker of mine actually hit me up, was like, you know, I saw you cooking food, your food looked delicious. Will you come cook for me and my mom? You know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, no. I don't want to embarrass myself. You know, I'm not going to set myself up for failure, but in hindsight, you know, I'm glad I did. You know, I think that opened many doors for more opportunities.
Okay.
So I've been cooking now, I would say 7 years, but it's very inconsistent. The past 4 years has been more and more consistent as I, you know, just trying to work hard, you know, make a name for myself and, you know, just put myself out there, and, you know, things are going pretty well right now.
Absolutely. Okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception about your job as a chef?
Biggest misconception, I think, is that as a chef that, you know, you could cook every cuisine out there. As just like, that's kind of broad. That's just like saying you're in the medical field and you're a nurse, but you can still do the same thing as what a doctor can do. You know, it's a huge misconception. Like, there's a lot of chefs out here that focus on cuisines.
Okay.
And that's their niche. You got chefs that focus on soul food. You got chefs that focus on Italian, you know, Jamaican cuisines, everything like that. But I would say my style of cooking is more eclectic. Okay. I like to be more global, if that makes sense.
No,
so it's a range from American to Japanese to Asian to, you know, it's pretty global. So yeah, I like to, you know, make it pretty interesting for everybody.
That's awesome. All right. Who are some people, or just who in general, in terms of your vocational story, are you the most grateful for? So, like, who would you say who are the people that you're grateful for?
Man, recently I just, all this time I've been cooking, man, I've never had what people would say would call a mentor. I just recently met mine last summer. His name is Chef Andres Hinojosa. He Latin guy, so that's where the name come from. He's based out of San Diego. Met him last year, linked up through Facebook. Met him for the first time this past February at a mastermind retreat for chefs, which is very powerful, man. Very inspirational for those that's listening, man. It's pretty much teach you how to start up and run your own personal chef business.
Wow.
And how to be successful at it and run a lucrative business. So it's more than just cooking. It's really teaching about the business side of how to run a personal chef business.
Awesome. All right. So one of the things just for the next generation looking up, when we talk about mentorship, that's something that you can find pretty much every vocation, every field. Always wise to get a mentor, always wise to have someone who has been there, done that, and can give you some insight voices. Who would you say? So let's this is our reverse engineering question. We try to ask, how did your childhood passions as a kid prepare you for your adult career choice?
My childhood passion, man. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it's honestly, man, it's something I kind of fell into. Because I don't do it full time. I eventually want to go into it full time.
Sure.
So I actually work as a occupational therapist full time. Cooking is something I wouldn't call it a side hustle anymore, man, because I'm so like into it. I would actually call it a second job, actually.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So kind of fell into it just from a hobby. It was I just love cooking. So cooking led into social media pictures. Social media pictures led into my first potential client. First potential client led into, way more throughout the year, and it just became a hobby, just turned into a job or just something I just love to do. But I eventually found out through that hobby, man, that God's really gifted me, with something that I really love to do.
For sure.
And he just allowed me to showcase it with everyone I cook for. So I'm really grateful for that, man. So it's I'm pretty blessed.
All right. And we ask you now if you can explain what you do as a professional in one sentence, and then explain what you do as a professional in one word.
In one sentence. I would say in one word, I would say exhilarating.
Oh.
In one sentence, don't back down.
Okay. All right. That's good. All right.
Don't back down.
Don't back down. What do you love the most about your job?
Meeting new people, man. I like to challenge myself for everyone I cook for. I say that because I don't have a set menu for everybody. Everything's tailored, so I like to challenge myself. I like to meet new people from all walks of life, man. It's allowed me to travel a little bit, and man, it's just being free and creative. It's not restricted like a full-time job where you have these policies and procedures you got to go by. In the culinary industry, man, it's just you. You make your own rules, you set your own boundaries, and you just be creative as you want. So I think that's the most part. That's the biggest thing I love about it.
What would you say is the biggest challenge about your
work? Biggest challenge for me, I would say grocery shopping. I hate it, man.
Yeah.
I hate grocery shopping. Not only that, I would say that because you never know how much you need. Because when you get there, someone may say, "Oh, I forgot to tell you I'm allergic to such and such."
Okay.
So you really have to have, like, like the old man would say, like, you got to have your tool bag with you. So every so often I buy something and I'm like, oh man, they may not like this, so I try to substitute for something they may like. They may be allergic to potatoes, but I may transfer it with parsnips or something like that. So it's that's the most that's the only thing I hate about it. Yeah, that's about it, man.
Okay. Yeah, I can only imagine how time consuming that can be, and just
It
everything that's
is.
associated with that time. And then you looking for something on this aisle and they switch
Right.
it, or all
And
sorts of
then
stuff.
sometimes you forget ingredients and you got to turn back around. Yeah, I hate it.
For sure. What steps must a person accomplish to either become certified or respected in your career your career field? Excuse me.
You know what, man? I was talking to Chef. Well, that's the term we use, Chef. My mentor. I think it is an industry, man. Like, from a lot of people, from when I talk to them, is this. A lot of people say you got to earn your stripes in this industry. Whatever that means, I don't know. For me, I would say if you want to go to culinary school, fine. If you want to be certified, I would say the only way you be certifying something is if you're focusing on a specific cuisine. Like, you're a French chef or you're an Italian chef. You go to school for that. They'll teach you about those cuisines. But I would say to be certified, like, I'm not certifying anything because I didn't go to culinary school.
But you are very much respected. Like, where did you feel like it changed from, okay, this Corey, he kind of plays around, to, oh, he gets busy? Like, when did that switch? What did that happen?
When people say, man, the turnaround point, you know what? I never really thought about it. I just keep my head down, keep working. But I would say that the turnaround point was when people realized that I was consistent with what I was doing.
Okay.
And not only that, they saw my creativity and saw how serious I was. And I think at that point in time, I believe is when people started really noticing. And that's when word of mouth really started setting in. That's where 100% of my business comes from, is word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Wow.
So, like, I just got a website. I'm just about to set up a Yelp account. So, I'm praying God, open more doors from there. But I think that's when the door really opened. Like, when they saw how serious I was, and saw what I was putting on plates, and you see pictures on social media, it's like, yo, Corey's serious.
That's real. Okay. Let's see. All right. So in terms of and not asking you to give away numbers and like that, but how do you get to the point where you can either negotiate salary or negotiate the value of your services?
I was once told, when you think you're not making enough, that's when you need to change your prices. And I think that's a huge challenge for every chef. Like, we don't know how to charge. We don't know how to price. And that's why I battled with it for a long time. It's the worst thing to do is go cook for someone and go home broke, if that makes sense.
That's real.
So when you feel like, especially when, a lot of people don't tip, or when you feel like you need a tip or you're not making enough money, that's when you need to raise your prices. And prices are also based on your value. If you think you're valuable enough for this base price, then you need to set it there. You need to not only set the bar high for yourself, but charge as such. So it's really not, you're really not asking for anybody permission. It's more of just knowing your skill set, knowing your value, knowing your clientele, who you're cooking for, who you're targeting. So that's how I look at it.
Know your worth. Know your worth. So, based on what you know now about your vocation, this is kind of, we call it our time machine question. Based on what you now know about your vocation, if you can go back 7 years ago or even prior to that and have a conversation with that Corey, what advice would you give yourself about going on the job that you're on, based on what you know now?
Learn a business. Definitely learn the business side of things. The skill set will come.
Mm-hmm.
Stop focusing on the skill set and just learn the business. Definitely learn the business side. If not, you'll set yourself up for failure every time. Every time, man. I had to learn that the hard way. I had a skill set. I just didn't know the business side. Knowing how to negotiate, learn to set prices, things of that nature. Knowing how much you need, equipment, stuff of that. Learning how to send in. I mean, it's just general stuff. Learning how to develop strategic partnerships. Learning how to negotiate and talk to clients, and not only talk to clients, how to book clients.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking to them. It's really a business side. If you don't know how to talk to clients, if you just give them, you can have a great skill set, but if you just give them a general idea of what you're doing and not go in depth of the basis of what you're doing, you can lose a whole lot of clientele. You could say, well, I make 3-4 courses, but you don't give a set price. Or you could say, well, I have, you could say, lost my train of thought a little bit.
You're talking about setting prices, and you're talking about clientele, and the question just kind of goes back to advice you give yourself for say a job.
Thank you, because I went off track a little bit. So the advice I would give
No,
to
cool.
myself, just pretty much just learn the business.
Okay, for sure. How would you prepare to one day transition from your role, like in-game retirement? What does that look like? Kind of thinking of the end in mind, keeping it in mind right now.
My ultimate goal is to I eventually want to evolve and just what's the word I'm looking for? Can't find the word, but I would say set myself up where honest with you, man, I haven't thought about that on this side of business.
That's fine. That's fine. I know. Okay.
Advice I would give anybody. Well, if I was, my advice would be like, don't cook for the rest of your life. So what I mean by that is set yourself up in a position where your business is scaling, where you could eventually hire people to work under you. As they're working under you, just branch off in different avenues.
Yeah. To
bring in more residual income. I know eventually, like, I want to do other things besides cooking. Yeah. I think God has more for me than just being in front of a stove, but I want to stay to the kitchen as close as possible, if that makes sense.
That's right.
So if I could have people work for me and just do things in the community and, help underprivileged kids and, build up other communities while I still have money coming in, I'm fine with that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right, last 2 questions. We call it the Cultivate Countdown. If you were to give 3 steps to being a great cook, 5, whatever you would say, your countdown, your go-tos, what general advice would you give in terms of being in the kitchen?
Constantly evolve. It's just like generations. Be creative. Be creative. Evolve. Research. Apply yourself. Network. Man, those are the most important things. I'm not sure. I mean, I mentioned, I don't know if that's 5
That's good.
or 6.
We'll get it. We'll put it in editing and we'll put it on a meme. So it's all good.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
All right. And last official question is, if you can give a motivational quote for you, we're gonna put this on when we put out the banner, that sort of thing. Your motivational quote coming from your mouth, from Corey Glover. What is your motivational quote for the next generation?
Ooh, man, my motivational quote, I would say, make sure you extract the juice from the fruit of life.
That's good. That's
If
good.
not, that fruit will eventually dry out, it will rot, and it will die.
That's good. That's good. Heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. Corey, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your insight. I think we were able to get it under 30. right on time. Are there any final thoughts, any places that our guests or those watching you can find you, whatever social media handles, emails, anything like that? How can they connect with
you? Yeah, for sure. You could, well, my website is www.siftandseason.com. You can also find me on IG at Sift and Season, Facebook at Sift and Season LLC.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Appreciate you. Have a good one, man.
All right.